Hello, American Patriots. Welcome to another episode of the Douglas Ducote Show. I am coming to you live from Nashville, Tennessee. We are on the final leg of our of several different things we're doing on a trip here. We've been on the road now for over a week. We went up to Virginia, to Richmond, to cover the Second Amendment rally that was held up there. Many of you saw our live broadcast that we did, as well as the videos we put out on this subject. You all know by now that the rally went off very well. There were no problems. Everything that the left threw out there and the Democrats said were going to happen did not happen. So that's in our favor for sure. It was a wonderful event. Ran into a lot of other YouTubers. And American Joe, one of them, he was out there. But also, what was very humbling was the amount of people that I ran into that would come up to me and just say hello, want to shake my hand. They've been watching the show, been watching my videos for a long time, even police officers. And I thought that's pretty cool. So, hey, we're reaching an audience. We're getting the word out there. And if you just keep telling people about us, we will continue to grow this movement that we're doing, this grassroots movement, to bring you real journalism, the truth, and hopefully in the near future, you guys will be able to just bypass the typical media that you see on cable news network every night and every day. I want to cover a few things with you that about this trip that was been pretty special for me. One of the things, while we were up in Virginia, we stayed at Fort Eustis, which is a training military base for Army personnel for all the different transportation type MOSs. For instance, I went through Fort Eustis in 1986 after I graduated from basic training because that's where they taught the Chinook helicopter course for those in the MOS of 67 uniform. And I went back in 1992 for the basic non-commissioned officer course, the academy, to become a staff sergeant. So it was kind of a reminiscing to go back and see this place after all these years. Want to thank all of those that were very open up their doors for us to bring my wife and I out on the flight line so she could see what a Chinook helicopter is all about up close and personal. And also we were able to go through the training academy there where they train the students, the same hangar that I learned to train in on the Chinook helicopter back in 1986. So that was a very special day for us to be able to go back and for me to revisit that and to share that with my wife. The other thing I want to briefly mention, throughout our time at Fort Eustis, I was able to have conversations with numerous different active duty military personnel that are there. Some of them that are part of the training brigade that are actually teaching these young men and women right out of AIT about different helicopters that they have there. There's the Black Hawk helicopter courses there and some other different aircraft, as well as other transportation things like the Navy boats, for instance. The Army boats. The Army has a lot of boats that people don't even realize. So in talking with a lot of these folks, I learned that the Army has become politically correct, more so than I ever realized. Now, I knew that this was happening, but I didn't realize just how in-depth it had become. It was very disheartening to hear about timeout cards where if a young soldier feels like they're under too much pressure, they can go in a timeout. Not cry rooms per se, but areas where they could go to instead of a smoke break, an area to go to just chill out and relax and get your act back together because of the drill sergeants or cadre that's, maybe raising their voice at you too much. I learned if they can't say anything that, the same political correctness stuff that CNN pushes at MSNBC, you can't say anything negative about the LGBTQ community. You can't make jokes. There's an easy process for students to file complaints against the cadre there and just ruin careers all over political correctness. The whole purpose for military basic training and for the AIT is to get you to a place with your mind and body to where if the day comes that you end up in combat, you're able to survive. So they put you through a lot of stress. They put you in situations that the average person doesn't experience. And now they're stripping that away to where, other than the special operation community, for instance, like the Navy SEALs or maybe Army infantry, airborne type units, special forces, Green Berets, Rangers, those type folks, this hasn't affected, or at least not to the degree that it has the typical Army soldier that does other jobs, transportation or cooks, you name it, anything other than special ops type stuff. So to hear this for someone who is very proud to have served my country in the military and deployed overseas numerous times was sad. I don't know how our Army got to this point. I don't know how bad it is in the other branches, but to find out about it in the U.S. Army, and at least at this one installation, and there's many across America and the world for that matter, it was disheartening. And, I don't know what we can do about it. I don't know what the future holds for that. I would hope that the Army Chief of Staff has at least let the president know what they're doing and how easy it is for a member of the training brigade or cadre to have their career just ruined over something that, just 20 years ago was nothing at all. I mean, it just wasn't even a subject that would come up. So I wanted to share that with you. I also had the opportunity while I was there to meet a soldier that I can't tell you his name. We're going to bring him on and do a special show just with him, kind of disguised, because if the Army was to find out that he was doing this with us, he would maybe be in trouble. He's from Puerto Rico, and his family's in Puerto Rico. And all the negative things that the Democrats have been saying Trump did or didn't do with Puerto Ricans, the island, the relief, the aid after the hurricane, is an absolute bald-faced lie. And he shared with us some in-depth detail about all the great things that were happening and how President Trump did more for the island of Puerto Rico after these disasters than probably any other disaster relief. Yet the mainstream media spins it against the president. So we're working out a situation where we can get him on. He's willing to do it. But we have to keep him, like I say, to where he won't get in trouble for sharing the truth about what's really going on. So we got that. While I was up here also, here in Nashville, I had the opportunity, I want to give them a shout out. There is several different recording studios here in Nashville, Tennessee, that are wonderful. A lot of the country music artists and other artists of different type musics come through. But some friends of mine, Darla and Timmy, they are band members with Mark Chestnut, who is a country music legend. Darla plays drums and Timmy plays bass guitar. They started their own studio up here called Mystic Studio. And I'm going to be putting out a lot of information about them in the future on Facebook as well as on YouTube. Look, these folks, we went to dinner with them. We went to the studio and toured it. And this is what I want to share with you, is I'm passionate about music. And I do a lot of different things with veterans when it comes to music, especially those with PTSD, where we take them to concerts and they get to see the show and then go backstage and meet the performers. And Darla and Timmy are very passionate about helping other people. They believe that is part of God's wish for them. And they want to see people's dreams in the music industry basically come true. You know, whether it's just coming in and cutting a CD for just yourself, or, you know, and you're not some person that's going to continue on in the industry, or that you are, and maybe you already have records out, or you know, you're up and coming. Either way, they're doing things to help everyday people that aren't normally in this type industry to see their dreams come true through music. And to me, that was very empowering to hear. And I'm very blessed to have a friendship with these two, and wonderful people. So if you have the time, please go over, check them out. They're on Facebook. They're also have a website. It's Mystic Studio, MISSTYX. And if you're in Nashville area and you'd like to do something with music or cut a little track, these are the folks that you want to go see. And they'll be more than happy to set you on that path. After we came back, I'm going to jump around here for a little bit. After we came back from the rally in Virginia, I'm sure you've all noticed now that the Democrats just went forward and slammed through a bunch of different bills, the ones that we hoped they wouldn't. The red flag laws, for instance, they put through 14 bills, went through the subcommittee. Some of them were blocked by Republicans. It doesn't matter. They don't have the House and Senate anymore. On Wednesday, the Dems passed a red flag law in the Senate, which is now in the House. And with them having the House, you can rest assured they're going to pass that as well. So what did the rally do? Besides the fact that it brought together, probably, they don't know the exact number, but what I'm hearing, close to the amount, probably with all the different people that have estimated it, is over 30,000 of us showed up with our weapons. What it did was it at least showed the rest of the United States that there is a lot of people, and this was just one rally in one area of the country, that are willing to stand up for our Constitution and speak out against those that want to destroy it. And in this case, it was the Second Amendment. So that is something that as we move on in life in 2020, especially as we get closer to the election, you're going to see more and more Democrat states try and do the same thing they just did in Virginia, sadly. And we're going to need to have the same show of force at each one of these. And I'm going to leave it at that for now. There's more to follow on that, and there's more people I'm working with about what we can do in the future on that. When we get back to Louisiana, we will start working or finishing up the border trip. We are just have a few more things to do, a few more T's to cross, I's to dot before we head off and continue this border tour, bringing you the facts of what's happening there. We have a lot of different people that we have planned to work with and integrate with, where we will be able to show you more of the action type things that are happening there on the border with the people that are involved with helping secure it. So I feel that's very, very important. Tomorrow, my wife and I, be our last day here in Nashville. We will be guest speakers for Lead and Empower Her. If you go to leadandempowerher.com, you will learn about this, and you will also be able to, if you're locally, buy tickets to come to the show, or you could actually pay a small fee to watch it stream live. We'll be there at 8 o'clock. I believe I'm speaking at around 11, and my wife's speaking 11:30. Not exactly sure of the times, but it's an empowerment thing for women. Most of the women there will be veterans, but there will be others that aren't vets, that we're hoping to, through our stories, share with them things to help empower them to move on past the military, fit into our society, just like the guys have issues fitting into society after coming back from combat tours. We each have separate things that affect us. Women vets have separate things that affect them different from men vets. But overall, we all fall under the same umbrella, those of us that were exposed to horrible situations that are faced with PTSD have that hanging over our heads. So we're going to do that tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to meeting all of these women and sharing my story, as well as my wife, her being a professional licensed counselor and having her own private practice in Louisiana and having a specialty in PTSD. She fits in perfect to what they're trying to do here. So, and we're not going to do the full hour tonight because I've got this to get ready for tomorrow. And we are back. All right, so I'd like to thank our guest again, David Fodder, for coming on and sharing with us how we can actually file a complaint through the Department of Justice against these liberal Democrats that are affecting our rights under the Bill of Rights and our Constitution. Just one more tool, folks, that we can use along with showing up at rallies that actually in paper form, if we do it in mass amounts, will get people to, that have to address this as far as the FBI is concerned. As he was mentioning, nobody has confidence anymore in the FBI, or for that matter, the Department of Justice, because all these people that committed federal crimes that we watched do it in front of us are not being held accountable. But we can't just sit back and do nothing. So this is just one more thing that we can do to continue to be a thorn in their side to try and get them to do the right thing, which is, hey, you work for us. It's not the other way around. And damn it, we want this country to thrive and be great under the rule of law. Lady Justice wears a blindfold for a reason. And right now, we're not seeing that. We're not seeing it at the federal level. We're not seeing it at the state level. Hell, the only level we're seeing that at is at your local city level. And sometimes you don't even see it then. Okay? We see everyday people that walk the streets of America getting arrested for drug charges or robbery or breaking and entering or whatever the case may be. But then you see these people that have massive amounts of money, and because of their political stance or because of their job title when they work for the government, nothing gets done to them. And that needs to come to an end. We really thought that would happen under President Trump, and it may very well happen under President Trump. We don't know what tomorrow brings. Tomorrow, we might wake up and get a Fox News alert or whatever on your phone, and lo and behold, Hillary Clinton has been hauled into jail, or James Comey, or Peter Strzok, or Loretta Lynch. All these people that we know committed crimes against our government, we don't know what tomorrow brings. It's wishful thinking, I guess, but what are we going to do? Sit back and do nothing? Well, I'm not. All right. I'm going to continue to push forward and do everything I possibly can. So I'm not going to really get into the impeachment thing. We will work on that next week. We have more information to talk about that. I've tuned in and out of it throughout this trip. I have seen, as I'm sure you have if you watch this, Jerry Nadler and Shifty Schiff and all the rest of the Democrats make complete and utter fools of themselves. It is a disgrace what they have done and what they are saying. And it's all unfolding right in front of America to tune in your TV and watch it. How a group of human beings could be so ignorant and have such bias and say such ridiculous and hurtful and outright statements that have no merit behind them about President Trump is beyond me. They do it with no shame, and they do it because they know that their followers are Democrats and liberals and, sadly, even a few Republicans that lean liberal, that believe the crap that's coming out of their mouths. But anyone, hell, just a high school education, you can put two and two together, you can look these facts up yourself, and you can see that this is all a dog and pony circus show on steroids. It's absolute travesty what they've done with this impeachment trial BS. So, with that, folks, I thank you so much for tuning into the show tonight. Next week, we'll be back at our normal schedule on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. Central Time, and we will get more into what's going on with our upcoming border trip, and we will have more information about what's happening with the impeachment. And we will also be bringing on, as I mentioned in the beginning of the show, the soldier that we met at Fort Eustis that's going to share with us all the things that the Democrats refuse to do about what happened to Puerto Rico when the hurricane came through and did all this massive destruction. So with that, please say a prayer for our men and women serving the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, first responders, their families, our Blue and Gold Star families, our president, and our country, and for everyone that opened up their arms and welcomed our team across the country as we go on these different tours. Thank you very, very much for all of you that are supporting the Douglas Ducote Show and our videos and our projects. You guys are what makes this all happen. And I cannot say thank you enough for what you do for us. And we will continue to do for you what you need, what America needs, and that is the truth. People to actually come to you and bring you factual information. That's what we're all about. God bless you, folks, and I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful, and blessed night. For now, I'm Douglas Ducote, and I'll see you soon. Support our movement. Join our cause. Stop by the Douglas Ducote Ducote Patriot Shop to get your official Team Ducote apparel and gear.
Protect your guns and ammo from moisture, mildew, and rust. Use promo code OBC for free shipping on your next purchase. Made in America, by Americans, lifetime warranted. FirearmGuard.com.
I, Douglas Ducote, an American patriot by the grace of God, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies foreign and especially domestic.